your mailbox, stash away your bills, and screen your calls, you probably experienced debt stress. Rick Edelman is back with the rest of his plan. Going to give you small, actionable steps you can take to conquer your credit card debt. For something that's going to give everyone a sigh of relief, at least I think it will. Everyone watching, listen carefully. He wants more budgeting. No budgets. That always is the first advice I get from anyone in the financial world.
Well, you want to hear that? You don't have to budget.
Yeah. I am. I'll clap.
Budgeting, Dr. Oz, is a complete waste of time. First of all, I don't know anyone who successfully budgets. Look at Congress. They have a budget. Look what it does for them. And anybody who attempts to do a budget and stick with it, well, they're usually a pretty boring person. I mean, it just doesn't work because unexpected things come up in life that we're not anticipating, and that blows our budget. And the reason a budget doesn't work is that a budget is a promise of how you will spend. Throw it away, it doesn't work. There is a much better approach that you should use instead.
You call it the one-week reality check.
It's so simple, and Leah, you did it, and anybody else can do it. All I want you to do is to continue doing exactly what you do the way you do it. In other words, keep spending. Don't change a thing. All I want you to do is track it. And track it for a week, and then tally it up. And we'll discover where your money really is going without having to budget. And what we discover is that when people track their expenses, they're shocked to discover that they're spending 10% of their income on coffee and soda and donuts during the day. And I don't have to say a word as a financial advisor because it hits you in the face and you realize, this is nuts. Common sense says, I need to stop doing this. And you immediately do because you realize it's silly. And the only reason we're engaging in that spending behavior today is because we're not noticing. When you do it $1 at a time, it doesn't seem like a big deal. But when it adds up over the course of a week or a month, all of a sudden you realize it's hundreds of dollars, money that can be best used in other ways.
Next big step is to tackle the debt by focusing on one credit card at a time. Why is that such an important decision?
Well, most of us are overwhelmed by our credit cards. Most people the average American has 6 credit cards, and they have different balances, they have different interest rates, they have different payment minimums required, and it becomes daunting. How do I juggle them? Which one do I pay? And they have different dates due and so on. So let's boil it down and make it really simple and easy.
Let's do this. Let's do exercise. I'm going to put you through the ringer here.
All right.
I want you to pretend that you're at home making this decision with us. These are actually your credit cards.
Yes.
We wrote down the amount of money you have outstanding and the interest rate you're paying on each of them. So which card you think, actually I'm going to ask you because I think you might have learned a little bit from Rick already. Rick, tell us, quiz the audience, how do we know which one to pay first?
Well, most people we discover say that what they need to get rid of is the card with the lowest balance first. Because look at that, you owe a couple of grand to several cards, but one of them is only $300. You can get rid of that really quick and easy, it'll feel really good. Bad idea. Why? Because the interest rate is 0 on that card. It's not costing you any money to maintain that balance. On the other hand, you've got a card over here at 29% interest. That is causing the most damage. So we need to focus on getting rid of that card first. So here's how you do it. First, you make the minimum payment to every card because you don't want to miss a payment, you don't want to be late on a payment, you don't want to bounce a check. That hurts your credit record. Make the minimum payment to every card. Then take all the extra cash and throw it all at the card with the highest interest rate. That's the most damage. Focus your energy on that. Even though it might take you a while to get rid of it, so what? That's where you target.
So what do you do with this card when you're paid it off? Oh. Done with it.
Done.
Does that feel good?
It feels incredible.
And at least...
I wish that was for real. I wish that I could literally just take them and crack them and toss them.
This is for real, actually. A card that has a 29% interest rate, you should crack up and get rid of it, or do other crazy things with it. You got a little tip you like to do with your credit cards?
You can actually, if you find that credit card is causing you a lot of damage because of the high interest rate, you know what you do? Take it out of your purse, put it in a little tub of water, a little jar, and shove it into the freezer and freeze it. This way, if you ever are tempted to use it, you would have to go to the trouble of going home, going to the freezer, defrosting it, and by the time you go through all that, the need to engage in that impulse buy will be gone, will be dissipated, and you won't incur the spending.
That's a great idea.
Hashtag ice the card. All right, now you got an express lane tactic you argue will also help us a lot, and I want you to pay attention to this. Can I say one thing about, we don't understand money as a people. We really don't, because it's hard to understand it. What Rick's pointing out are simple concepts that make a big difference. This next one is critically important. How do you create an express lane strategy?
It's really very, very, very simple, Dr. Oz. You want to recognize that the longer it takes you to pay off the debt, the more debt you're ultimately paying in interest. interest. So don't simply make the minimum payment to a card. If you double that payment, you get rid of the debt in a dramatically faster period of time. Take a look at this example. A $2,000 credit card balance with a 17% interest rate. If you make the minimum monthly payment, it'll take 21 years to get rid of that card.
That's crazy.
But if you double the payment, if you make twice the payment every month instead of just once, you'll get rid of that card in 2 years.
Wow. I think I'm gonna buy some.
Leah, are you willing to work with Rick? He's willing to help you, but I want you to take that beautiful 8-year-old to Disney World.
I want to take her too.
And I want this stress debt done, the 10 times a day of worrying that it causes you, and the sleeplessness, and all things that are destroying your health. I want them gone. For you and everybody else. Will you work with Rick on this?
Absolutely. I would love it.
All right, good for you. You guys bond together. You can get the full plan we're talking about today and all the information from our Truth Direct person on DrOz.com. And make sure to check out Rick Edelman's book, The Truth About Money. We'll be right back.